am going to tell people to click on Tell a Little Bird on the left side and send a post to Facebook so your Facebook friends can see also where you're at. And if you have any questions, type a /Q, a space, type your question, and it'll appear in the question box on the left, and also show a Q by your question in the comment stream. And if you forget that, you can look to and send a message box there, and you'll see the /. It'll bring up a menu, and it's right there. So after saying that, I'm going to lock the seat. Stan, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to let you and Nikki. Or do you want me to do something?
Well, I was going to ask you if you wanted to do the I'm kind of like,
I'll do the introduction.
Yeah. I'm kind of feeling like I've been to the Donald Trump House of Styles or something this week, so I need to do something with his hair. But you want to do the introduction, and then I'll do something with the embed thing today, and
sure.
Get it kind of started, and then we're going to go to Nikki, which everybody is here for.
Okay, well, let me get started here. We're going to do how to embed a blab today. The first portion of the blab is to help people embed a blab. It's about 15 minutes long. It is fast-paced with a clear goal. We want to give you the confidence to use to embed a blab. We don't answer many questions from the audience at this time. We try to get through the information. We show you how to embed a blab, and that's it. We ask that you hold the questions until the end. We do encourage you to join the blab when there's an open seat. Just click inside the circle that says call in one of the frames if there is one. Who are we? We're the Circadians. We're a community that isn't built around one individual. We live, work, and thrive in a guru-free zone. Everyone is equal, everyone matters, and everyone has their own special gift, with the sum of those gifts being greater than any one individual. What we do, we create event-driven, outcome-oriented business-building relationships, broadcasts, websites, content, training programs, and more. For example, this blab is the event. Our outcome is we want you to be able to feel comfortable embedding blab when we're done. And we do get business and referrals from our efforts here. We welcome the opportunity to elaborate on that. Just ask for an invitation to our community today by emailing youmatter@thecircadians.com. The rules of blab we want to go over briefly is respect each other, honor the viewer's time, let others talk, don't be an awful person to be around, argue the point, not the person. The host sets the rules to the party unless they conflict with these rules. The first three are kind of go together, and that's if you get in one of the seats. Stay on topic, ask your question, make your comment, and then give somebody else a chance to do the same. Don't be an awful person to be around. It's common sense. Argue the point and not the person, and that's the big one we look at. Is it's all right to disagree with somebody and say, I respect your opinion, but here's the way I feel, and I think you ought to consider that in a discussion. Don't say, you know what, I don't like what you said, and because I don't like what you said, and you don't agree with me, I think you're an idiot. That's not the way to be. And personally, it's not going to get you far on any social media. People are going to start looking at you and say, oh, I know that guy. No, I'm not going to let him in my blab. So you want to don't be argue the point and not the person, and don't be that awful person. There are many people that we like to thank for helping us. Nikki's here. Her mom is out there, Eileen Smith, Nazim Beltran. There's a whole bunch to mention, and it's too many to just get into. When you see them, follow these people. And now I am going to come back here and turn it over to Stan. And I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to watch from the sidelines and maybe answer some questions over there as best I can, because you're in for a good show today with Nikki, and because this is her profession, really, is how to do stuff like this. Bye.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Well, I want to say a couple. I want to say a couple of hellos to Eileen and to Todd. And it looks like Paul's up here and John Upton, and we got a new guy up here, M. Dayton, who is an innovator, deep thinker, poet, and cyclist. We have a show on Monday. It's called How to Use Blab, and it talks a little bit about your profile and how you can. It's at 10 o'clock too. We have a 10 o'clock blab every day. We're expanding that, by the way. I'm not going to make the commitments for those guys, but there's some of the guys going to start doing this at a different time during the day. So we're going to go into some other time slots, but that will tell you how to handle that profile a little bit different. I see Tim Gillette's up here. That's great. And now, Nikki, how are you?
I'm well. How are you? I didn't say hi to you. I was like going.
Yeah, you look like the Energizer. Yeah, you look like the Energizer buddy. You know.
Well, you know
you
what?
were all excited.
So here's the thing. I don't normally drink coffee, but I knew that this was going to be a long day, so I drank coffee and I just ran 6 miles.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That
I'm
really
gone.
is. Well, I don't. I drank coffee earlier. I get up about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. I drank coffee earlier, so now I'm already on my juice. Which, just by the way, I had to run to the refrigerator to get. So
That counts.
That counts, right? As part of my thing. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to go over real quick about how we embed on Blab, and then we're going to embed the blabs onto different places, and then we're going to talk about how you would use that and stuff. And so I'm going to, without much more ado, I'm going to get into it and just tell you that I'm a little bit. You're going to LA?
I'm going to LA tonight. Let me tell you my whole travel itinerary. LA tonight, then straight from LA to Vegas on Monday, come back next Wednesday, 7 days from today. I'm here for a couple of days, and then Bahamas.
Yeah, I really feel sorry for you. Well, you know, those of you who are old enough will remember the song "I Love L.A." So I will just tell you that I do love L.A. You've never heard the song, right?
No, but I lived there for 7 years, so I do love LA. Who sings this "I Love LA" song?
Randy Newman.
Yeah, I never heard that song.
Never heard of him either, right? Okay, so I'm sure Tim Gillette probably knows who he is. All right, so I'm going to talk about embedding. When you go to embed a blab, how do you do it? We're going to talk about Facebook first, and what you would do is, first of all, embedding is very, very simple. When you start your blab, which we go over how to host a blab on day 2, it creates this little code. You can see it. I'm not sure whether or not you can actually see it as a guest, but as a host, you can see inside there on the left, it says tweet, post, and there's a little bracket here, which is the embed code. And you click on that to copy that code. It brings up a window that has that code inside of it. And so you just Control-C to copy it on a Windows machine. But then you would go to Facebook. If you want to follow along with this presentation, by the way, over at learnblab.com, if you register at that site, as soon as you register and get into that site, this entire presentation with screenshots, the whole 9 yards is there, so you can follow it at your own pace and look at it at your own pace. You've just got to be, I've got to go in and then let you into the community, but there's a menu on the left that will have those presentations for you. Anyway, you go to Thunderpenny, which is at facebook.com/statichtml Thunderpenny. I'm going to put that down here. I don't think anybody has got those today. So let me type that in. I hope that works. But that'll take you to a page with Static Thunderpenny. And Static Thunderpenny, what we're going to talk about is a way to be able to embed Blab onto what's called a tab. They have changed some of the embedding here lately, and I'm going to do a shortcut to that in a moment. But it puts your Blab on a tab, which means you can do all sorts of things like landing and welcome pages and things like that right there inside of Facebook if you use a Thunderpenny. But when you get there, you'd click on the Use App button. And from the Use App button, there is a little green box that says Add Static HTML to a Page button, which we're talking about a Facebook page, not your Facebook profile. You'll see an Add Page tab. And on that, when you click on that add page tab, it's going to bring up a it's going to bring up a Facebook page, a list of all the Facebook pages that you have. I think I got 30 or something like that in there of a single place that I can manage all the tabs across those Facebook pages. And so I would check which one I wanted to embed it on. And then I'd be taken to a page that the page that I selected, like in the example that you would be able to see is Warner Robins local guide. I'm a level 5 Google local guide. The Warner Robins local guide is to click up there to set up a tab button. There's a little green button there that says set up the tab. And again, this is all on the presentation. We made the presentation figuring that they were going to have the shared the screen share done shortly, but that's not here yet. So we don't want to add another thing to our machines. And I think at my age, I think I have learned enough. So the next page, you'll have a dialog box where you'll paste your text. There'll be a little box there that'll say welcome to Thunder Penny. You just delete that and paste in the code that you got from that little square code box that we discussed early on. And then you're going to go to the page that you want to embed. Next to the tweet and post box, you'll see the little code thing that we just talked about. You'll copy and paste that, go back to Thunder Penny, and paste it in that plain text area there. And that's pretty much it. You click on the blue Save and Publish button, and you're going to be live and in living color on Facebook. Now, there's an easier way now. And I'm going to get away from the presentation because the presentation is really, it's kind of hard to follow if you're not seeing these screenshots. So I'm going to ask you to go to LearnBlab. If you want to watch one of these things, you want to have the confidence to kind of watch this thing on your own, you can go over and see it because it will show you everything that you need to know to post it onto a tab, including creating a custom tab image on Facebook. And a lot of the big marketers over on Facebook, Amy Porterfield, for example, she uses tabs a lot. People ask me about, the use of tabs. The big marketers over there use them for specific reasons. I'm going to get over here and I'm going to copy this code so that you'll know what it looks like. If you take this code right here and you go to your Facebook page and you paste that into a Facebook post, it's actually going to display it, but it's not going to what it's not going to do is take away it'll be a very ugly post. It'll have a live blab down below it, but it's going to have all the code up in the top. All you have to do is edit that and then delete that or write something else below that, and it will display that perfectly fine on Facebook. And if you take the one other thing about this code, let me give you a minute to tell you something that you might find useful. Here, you can post any page you want into an iframe. That's all they're using. You can paste any page that you want, which it hasn't been prohibited from, by using that code right there. Where it says source equals URL, just put in Tim Gillette's show, whatever his URL is, and it will display that page in an iframe no matter what page it's on, as long as the iframe has not been prohibited by that. Other tip I would give you is that where it says width, height, and then width 640, replace 640. I have to look and see what that LearnBlab link is, but it takes if you'll take off the 640 and put in 100% there instead of 640, because it's doing it in pixels. If you'll change that to 100%, it will. Well, I'm going to ask Nikki to tell them what it does, because I know Nikki knows what 100% means. I know for a fact that she knows what it means. And I want to listen, because I'm here to learn too, folks. I mean, I like listening to. I'm a hack. I'm a hack pretty good, but I'm a hack. So I'm going to let Nikki tell them what that 100% would do when they post that in there.
The 100% will make it full screen. It'll take up the full size of that allotted area that you're posting it into. I actually, when I embed anything, I always use specific dimensions. And then I'll just leave. They say you're not supposed to, but I've never seen it happen negatively, but I just leave one of the other dimensions blank. So if I know that I want it to be a certain amount of width, I won't dictate what the height is, because it'll always resize. If you're on something, responsive, it'll always resize proportionately. So you don't like limit it. And I know I want it to be 600 pixels across, or I know I want it to be 800 pixels across, and I just leave it. But I rarely ever use the 100%. 100% is perfectly fine. I don't know. I'm like, okay, I know exactly how many pixels I want this, and I just set it at that, and then leave the height blank.
So you're saying that you prefer to have the actual specific sizes, even on a responsive site?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, it depends on what it's for. But I've rarely ever used 100%. Rarely. If it's
like I said, folks. Okay, it's actually this way right here. It's all backwards inside here. That person over there is a professional at this. I hack at it. So anytime she says not to use 100%, I'm going to listen to that.
No, I'm not saying that. I just always like to work in definites. That's all. Like, okay, I know I want this to be 800 pixels.
Okay, so you don't want to get into a discussion about absolute and relative URLs too, then, do you?
Well,
because definite. Yeah, there's always an exception to the rule. So, have you embedded? Tell me some of the. You've never run across where somebody has prohibited embedding?
I've never run across that. But then again, at the same time, the only times I can remember in recent times where we've ever wanted to embed a page, like just something very specific, is on our own site where we put our work, our past work. We'll take screenshots and put it up. But I'm very, very particular. I want the screenshots to look a particular way. I don't want anything messing it up. So we just take screenshots and resize them. And like if the screenshot is, if the image that we want to capture is larger than the screen, we'll just take multiple screenshots, hop over to Photoshop, and then line them up and then create this one big image. So if anybody wants to see, you can go to our website and then go to previous work or website examples or something. It's in the menu. And then you can see how we use screenshots. But the only times I use iframe is when I have something very specific. Like one time we embedded for a client, they did a live streaming and their AV team were there. They was there live. They did a huge symposium. So their AV team was live, and then they just gave us the code and we just dropped it into the website. Mm-hmm. But any other time, if I have something very, very specific, because sometimes clients go and they just go and they change their website, and then you're like, come back 6 months later and like, this doesn't look too hot. What'd you do? Well, I did whatever, and I didn't know if I can afford you to edit. So I'm just like, okay, so I just rather not mess with. I take the screenshot of the work that we did.
Yeah, that's one of the my favorite question is, can you afford me to fix it then? You know, because a lot of times it's like they can break more in 5 minutes than you can fix in 5 years. You know, it's like it's very difficult.
Exactly. So to answer your question, Candy, our service is international for sure. We have a lot of clients that we deal with just over email, or we barely ever even talk to them.
Chef had an inquiry about pixel dust stand bush. I think he may. What he's talking about is a guru-free zone. That one of the expressions I use about our services is that I have a guru-free zone, and that there's no magic pixel dust that I spread around here, that we actually know how to do the work. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Chef. So so you don't embed at all? How would you show, if you were going to take a blab, then, since you don't embed, tell us how you would do that.
I would definitely embed something like this. But if it was just like a web page, I wouldn't embed it that way. I would take a screenshot. But something video or something like that, for sure, use an iframe.
How would you embed?
I would just grab this embed code and put it there.
And so how would you do that? And you're a WordPress shop, right? Yeah,
I'm a WordPress shop. So I would just do it exactly this way. Anything that I want to embed, YouTube video, whatever, just, FYI to all of you newbies, that symbol with the bracket / close bracket, that generally means anything that you're on, that means that you can embed it. So a lot of things that you probably seen and just don't even know what it means. If you're on YouTube or whatever, just look for that and then you can go ahead and embed it. So anything video or something like this, you definitely have to embed it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Is WordPress? I've worked on some WordPress sites, but I'm not what I would call, a WordPress guy, but like in Joomla, you have to switch your editor from what you see is what you get. You have to switch it to plain text in order to embed. Is that right? Is that one?
Yes, my mom just actually, Eileen, she just said something about that. You have to make sure that you're in text. So for all of you semi-professional WordPress users, so now for most of the themes, all the popular themes, there's a new plugin called Visual Composer that you compose in now. So there's technically 4 ways to add text. So you can add text the standard traditional way, whereas what you see is what you get. Or you can add text if you know some HTML, which just FYI, the embed code is HTML. So if you know some HTML, you want to write freehand, or if you, for whatever reason, I write in text a lot, I guess because I know HTML and certain things it's quicker if you just know the code. So that's the text. But then now with most of the new themes, you have to use it with a Visual Composer. Visual Composer is another added, what you see is what you get layer that allows you to put all sorts of short codes without actually knowing codes, or all sorts of, the best way to describe it is different ways that you can lay content out. So it's a plugin. But then within that plugin, once you switch to Visual Composer, you can write in that version of what you see is what you get. But then you can also switch over to the HTML side within Visual Composer. So there's 4 ways to do it. Technically, it gets really complicated.
Yeah, for those that have ever dealt with the Joomla stuff that she's talking, what we use there is a thing called Rock Candy that does kind of the same thing. You can write your own short snippets that you can grab and put in there at the same time. Is that what that does too, Visual Composer?
Yes.
How do I join a random conversation? The seat is closed right now. I'm going to open that seat up for a minute, though. I'm going to go ahead and open that seat up and see if there's any questions that I know somebody. I think we know one person at least that's going to hop in one of these seats. And right now, I bet that finger's just like this, right on that trigger. Because as soon as we open it up, you watch. And I'm going to ask Ron and Michelle, and I think Nina might be here, and Tony to pop in and tell us a little bit about what they do. And if they've got any questions, then we can get to those questions too. And it is an open seat now.
I got it right with Miss Eileen. I got my hair all ready.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'll take my glasses off like Miss Eileen.
Oh, hello, circadians. Hello, darling. I took a snow day today, and that's the only reason I'm off, not because Nikki was going to be on today, just in case anybody was wondering.
I just want to tell y'all that my mom, if anything, have it like rain just a little bit more than what they say, she's taking a day off. There's really no snow outside. She's like, oh no, it's snowing. I can't go in. It's not even touching the ground.
This is what happens when you've been working at a company for 33 years and you get a whole bunch of vacation days. And so you're like, it's a little slippery out. I don't think I'm coming in today.
Where I live, we call those Southeastern Conference days. That's what they are here in Georgia.
Yeah, in my former life, I was a chief financial officer for 18 years for a private nonprofit social service healthcare agency. And when I had to retire, I had 5 weeks vacation and like about 56 days before I had to go into disabilities.
So tell us a little bit about you. Let's hear a little bit about Michelle, and then we're going to let Eileen. We know what she is, but she's going to talk to her daughter down here. Both of those. By the way, I've already taken a screenshot. I knew that. I knew that when you came in without the glasses. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is done deal. She is ready." And I looked at it. I looked at it good. The only person that didn't show up that good was, like I said, this Donald Trump House of Style thing.
It looks fine.
Michelle
is a Jersey girl. And Michelle's mom has dementia for the last 18 years. She just turned 75 years old. So I am a dementia support and awareness advocate, very passionate about it. I help a patient who started a group back in 2010. His name is Rick Phelps, run a Facebook group, help him administer that. That has 13,000 members now with caregivers, advocates, and patients all sharing 24/7, 365 all over the world. It's incredible. So I am working with the circadians. I am loving it. I am a circadian. I'm learning a lot, and I'm going to put the knowledge I've learned there to promote more dementia support and awareness.
She's like Wrangler Supreme. If you ever need a Wrangler, that's the person to do right there, because she does not miss the link. She does not miss a trick when it comes to that stuff. She is awesome with it. And she does a lot for us. If it wasn't for her, the 9 o'clock clinic that we hold every morning would never take place, because it would be at least 9:15 before anybody figured out where it was at. She makes sure everybody.
Thank you for those kind words, Dan. This is recorded, right?
Good point.
Yeah, but I got that editing thing. Yes, it's recorded, and it's okay. She is everything, and all that in a bag of chips, really.
Well, thank you.
And aren't you going to do something on your own with the support group?
I would like to start doing some support groups, maybe through Hangouts. Mm-hmm. Or Blab is open and not private, so I don't know how many people would want to share openly, but on Blab, I think I get a lot of information out to people.
All right, with a show of hands, everybody that thinks that she should do, because this is something we discussed in the Circadians as a community, by the way, where everybody's equal, everybody matters, and everybody has their own special gift, and the sum of those gifts is greater than the individual. We believe that if you put somebody on a pedestal, don't be surprised when they look down on you, because that's where you put them. So that's what we are as a community. I'm answering a question over here from someone. If you want to just send an email to me, or we'll get in touch with you and let you know what that is. Now, with a show of ones, because this has been discussed, who thinks Michelle should bring and do her thing with the Dementia Awareness Group on Blab? If you think there you go.
You can type fast. Oh, Ron.
But remember, this would not be with the group. Well, no, this would be on my own, because that Memory People has their own stuff. So mm-hmm. I would be doing this outside the group.
Mm-hmm. I still see multiple ones over there.
So, Michelle, I have a question. What do you do in terms of your online presence, obviously, instead of just being the amazing Blab person that you are, to promote your cause? Do you have a website? Do you?
Well, right now, that's what right now I'm in the process of setting up a blog and a website, because I've spent the last 4 years helping Memory People. That's what I've done. They helped me. I've given back. They changed my life, and they've helped me help others. They've helped me have a relationship with Mom that I wouldn't have had without the knowledge that I got from them. And I want to pay that forward even further now.
Have you ever thought about doing a podcast? Which I'm sure that my mom will probably be like jumping for joy that I even suggested that. Have you thought about doing a podcast?
No, that actually I never have done a podcast. No,
you should. I would suggest that you consider doing it, just kind of chronicling your experience. And I'm sure that you can. I mean, you've been doing it for 18 years, right? And so I'm sure
my mother. My mother lived with me for 6 of those years.
I'm sure you can give tons and tons of tips for people who are just caregivers, as I understand that it's a really, really, really difficult job. My mom's mom, my grandmother, she took care of my grandfather. He was pretty much a vegetable for 9 years, where she was nonstop I live in the house that they lived in this house for 9, pretty much didn't leave the house for 9 years. Pretty much. Only time she left is when me and my mom came over a couple times a week so she can go to the grocery store. She was never going for more than an hour, 2 or 3 times a week. So I say all
that story is so common.
Job. So it may be therapeutic for you, and I'm sure that there are people out there that are just like itching to have somebody to relate to. Another quick story. I have a really prominent person in Philadelphia. She's a good friend of a friend. She's on the radio. She took care of her mom. Her name is Patty Jackson. Anybody from Philly may know her. She took care of her mom for a really, really, really long time. And her mom passed. And within weeks after her mom passed, she had a stroke. And the particular kind of stroke that she had, they said that it's popular amongst caregivers.
Caregiver burnout. That's what it is. They don't take care of themselves. They're the last to take care of themselves. And they physically pay for it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So there may be, just some therapeutic thing for yourself to just hop on 30 minutes once a week, every 2 weeks, and just do a podcast. And you may really help somebody out to know that there's other people going through what they're going through.
Now, the person that I'm going to point to, I think I'm pointing to the right person when I point right there, although it's right here. That person right there is okay, I will tell you what I know about.
Opposite.
Lab has they partnered or PodClear joined them. And so PodClear means that your stuff that you're doing on Blab comes out really, really good. But that person right there, she's the person that could tell you the steps on podcast. She probably has she's probably got a course, or she might have I know she's got it on
a
YouTube
free ebook. I got a free ebook thanks to my daughter's team putting it together for me. Yep. And, it's not that hard. But I just wanted to say, when, Nikki almost made me cry, not just because she mentioned my mom and my dad, but because she realizes the power of the podcast and what you could do, Michelle, just like I do. And it's also that way that you can use Blab, where you talk about your struggles, where people can find support and all of that. And then that would be your way of integrating Blab in with whatever else you're doing. And then you can embed those Blabs, getting back on topic, you can embed those Blabs on your blog that you're going to have. So thank you, Nikki. That made me feel really special.
And we all know that if Eileen's got a book about it, here's what we know about it. That's accurate. That's what we know.
And where is that book, Miss Eileen?
It's listed. I'm typing the link in now. It's eileensmith.com, listed in iTunes.
So let me be the first testimonial, right? So my mom had been trying to tell me for years to do a podcast, and with starting a new business, I'm sure that most of you guys are out there, a lot of you guys are entrepreneurs, or you have dreams of being an entrepreneur. You know that in those first couple of years, you're super busy. And I just told her, Mom, leave me alone about this podcast. Right? So finally, at the time, I had the business that I was doing was a fashion business. We sold accessories online. And then finally, I decided to do my very first podcast, which was just fashion news. And it was cool. I just was never really completely 100% passionate about it. And I just didn't really follow all the steps. But then I just didn't give up. So then we had started another podcast called the E-commerce Success Show. And that was really great. But I realized I still didn't do everything that she told me to do to make it successful. I was just okay, I'm just doing it. I'm just happy to be doing it. But then I realized that although the show was marketed to e-commerce business owners that were e-commerce to them, to small business e-commerce business owners that were e-commerce, was still a little bit over their heads. And I think it intimidated them. So long story short, we're finally doing everything that she tells us to do in order to launch the podcast on the 15th. We're launching the Better Than Success podcast. This will be the final podcast. As I'm recording all the episodes, I realize this is the place that I'm supposed to be, because I'm really passionate about helping small businesses get to success. And the show is called Better Than Success because we're teaching you how to teach yourself the art of success. So it's better than just success. You know that you taught yourself. So that's the story. And that's my Eileen Smith success story.
And the moral of the story is, even if you are Miss Eileen Speaks, sometimes your own children don't hear you.
I'm gonna tell you, listen, I'm gonna be really honest with you. Some of y'all probably listen to her way more than I do. I know y'all do.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure you know, Miss Eileen, I just want you to know that, as someone else pointed out, it is recorded. And so anytime you want to get a copy of that, I can see it. I can see it around the Thanksgiving table. Here, let me listen to this one more time.
Exactly.
Yeah, Mom was right. Oh yes, this is my favorite part where he said Mom was right.
Thank you, Michelle.
Well,
I'm gonna pop out right now, guys. So one of the other circadians can pop in, and I'll be back. Though, where am I going?
Thank Nikki.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, baby. Good job.
You got your vote, though. You know what you're supposed to do.
I got my vote.
I was glad that came up.
Nikki, I'm gonna call. I'm gonna message you.
Okay.
Hi, Ron. Bye, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Bye.
Kick me out. I can't get out.
You gotta. That's one of the changes that was made. If you X out, you gotta hit that other box on the side before you get out. I took notice of that yesterday and forgot it today. I'm Ron Snaberger. Yes, I'm a circadian. You see me here most every day doing an introduction or a presentation. But besides that, I do engraving. And I engrave on glass. And I do calligraphy on glass. I do some artwork on glass. And if anybody would like to, contact me. And if you need something done, I'd be happy to do it for you. But that's what I do. It keeps me busy in my retirement time. And that's all I got to say. And I'm going to get out of here again so somebody else can get in.
You're just going to pop in and out like that?
Well, I would stay, but it's like, there's other people out there that would like to get in, I think. And
I know you get confused sometimes, but this is Blab, not Snapchat. Hey, Tony.
Hello, Ron, Nikki, Stan. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. Nikki, you always give me something to think about. I really hadn't thought about doing the podcast, but I actually have a story. And so your mom has talked to me quite a bit about doing podcasts. And I was kind of like, but it all just sort of came together as I was listening to you talk about it. And so now I actually have already pulled the free podcast from Eileen.com up, and I'm going to be looking at that as soon as we're finished here today. So thank you so much for sharing that. As always, very good information. And I always send your mother a text message telling her, thank you so much for sharing your baby with us, because we get so much value from you, and really appreciate you.
Thank you. I get value from y'all. Like, seriously, I after doing my first blab last week, I don't know. I just get so much value from you guys. It helps me. My mom suggested that I do blab as well. So more than anything, I'm probably just my mom's, I don't want to say success story, because I'm not quite successful just yet, but just the manifestation of really listening to all the suggestions that she makes. So she's been trying to tell me to get in Blab forever. And I'm like, listen, Mom, I can't do another social media. I just can't do it. Please leave me alone. So then when you asked me to do it, Stan, I guess it's this way. When you asked me to do it, Stan, my mom was like, oh, you're probably not going to do it. You're so busy. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. You're wrong. I'm going to do it because you've been telling me to do it. So it's forcing me. And I really do I love being here and talking to you guys and learning from you guys. And I mean, even the, each version of every day of the week, this how to embed Blab and all that. That was my first time getting it. So I mean, I may have figured it out, but either way, just to have it kind of like put there the first time I hop in, and it's like, okay, that is how you embed it and all that good stuff. I probably would never thought about even doing it. And it's like, okay, That was a
Yeah.
quick lesson that didn't take me 20 minutes to try and figure out how to do on my own.
Miss Eileen has just said, used the phrase case study when it comes to you when you were struggling with. She also said
things that we do for her. She's our case study too.
Yeah. Well, she also says reverse psychology, people. It works. You know, in this case, she would be able to say child psychology, you know, because
I'm still her baby.
Because of the relationship and everything. But so how are you, Nina?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Nikki. Yeah,
Hey,
it would
Nina.
be difficult for my daughter to understand that I have embedded a live streaming video and I'm on the video. Although that would be very unusual for her that I could give her teaching on social media, because at the beginning, like she was very active, and then because she had to graduate university and didn't have time, now she's very quiet on the social media. And so nice to meet you again, and I'm very happy that you join us again for embedding. My name is Nina, and I'm best for doing Google Plus collections. Today I did this reverse psychology. I said, you can check how to uncheck your followers, and it was shared a lot. So now it's working great.
Yeah,
Psychology is a powerful tool.
Yeah, and I was thinking about podcasts, just to share a few thoughts. If I could hear the voice and see my father, I was 19 when he passed away. He died in a car accident. That would be great. So this is on my list, to record my mother, to record my relatives who are already, and to make this from a family, so we can pass this staying like we have on the circadians. How does that stand address we are transcending?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything we do transcends ourselves.
It would be great for the people that come after us to see us and to hear us. That's fantastic. It's not just for business.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you for being here, and it's already dark in the night, end of the day here in Sofia. See you again. Nice that the links are recorded, so it's easy for me to add them to what we are writing. Good.
Yeah, she is in Sofia, Bulgaria, which is the oldest city in Europe, I think. I did not know that until we met here on, well, actually we met on Google Plus, but that whole area's got quite a bit of history in it. It's really a neat, and some of the images that they bring in. There's a member over there named Todor that's got like a photo album that we're actually going to share. It's a shared photo album, so you'll be able to add, images and things from where you're at, which is part of the case study. That the things that Nina does, things that are like her collections. We talk about her with collections, but she's really good at them. I mean, she's got collections that she won some sort of an award in Europe for her collections. And we're probably going to embed those somewhere, getting back to our subject, which is embedding. But in order to do that, I think there's some probably, embedding is actually, for those that are here to watch that portion of it, you can go back and watch the replay. But embedding is actually the easiest way to display something for those that don't really want to fool around with the code or anything like that. But you're going to have a high overhead sometimes, which means that it's going to slow down the load speed and that sort of thing. But let's see, what did Chef say? My collections have more followers than I do. G Plus is still a great social media. His collections have more followers. Okay, that's a guy that's got like 750,000 followers. I don't know if you know that. He's got like close to 500,000 followers. So if he's got, you can come on in here, Chef, because you're going to be here next week telling us. Yeah. How come he's not a co-host?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah. How many followers you got over there? Him and Steph Michael are going to be here next week on
I think
Monday.
I'm about 860,000, but my collection has over 900,000, has about 40,000 more than I do. So that means people are going just for my recipes. So, which is okay with me.
So that's pretty cool. So do you use embedding with your stuff?
The only time I use embedding is at night when I go to sleep.
Oh, he'll be here all week.
Then I go in bed. Take it out. Was a whoosh.
I was about to say, what type of trick is this? You can do stuff while you sleep.
Yeah. He's amazing like that.
No, I do embed some mostly YouTube videos. I have not embedded any blabs yet because I heard they really slow things down. So I don't know.
Well, it depends. It depends on what, a lot of times, and since we're having kind of going into that discussion, a lot of times that has to do with cheap hosting too. Everything, all of this has to do with things, and Nikki can certainly speak to that. Is that sometimes, somebody will say, my site's really slow. And I go over there and I look, and it's like, okay, what is this, 49 cents a month?
Yeah.
By the way, you have 640,000 other websites on that same IP, but with the tools that you use to figure all that stuff out. So I'm just guessing maybe one of those other sites had somebody go there at the same time, just maybe. So a lot of times when you talk about that, do what?
I said, let me speak on that. We have our own hosting company. And because we have our own hosting, most of our clients, when they come to us, we offer them the full package. Our hosting is called Big Gravy, and we don't get too many people just from the internet buy hosting. We just usually just package it up with the website, web design. So we know the back end of that, right? And we're a reseller, but we still have to also maintenance everything. And it's just a nightmare just being sure that all of our client sites, because a good amount of our clients also have us on retainer for SEO and all that good stuff. So they may not even know if their site is moving slow or whatever. So it's something that we have to be on top of, because obviously that SEO has a good amount to do with site speed. So it's something that we have to be on top of. For a while, we couldn't figure out why lighter.com was moving slow. So we have to always optimize. And it is a major thing to be sure that whether your site is WordPress or whatever the case may be, to make sure that your site is moving at an optimal speed. Some of the tips that I can give you guys on how to speed your site up is try to delete some large pictures that you have that you're not using. Use JPEG files instead of PNG files when you can. So just FYI, PNG files, the benefit to using them online is it has a clear element. So if you have something with clear, then use PNG. If you don't have it, there's no clear elements in the picture, just use a JPEG. The files are much smaller. Be sure that you use a caching plugin. Caching plugin just basically stores a lot of the website information so that it's not overworking the server. So be sure that you use a caching plugin. There's a lot of information out there about how to put a caching plugin on your website and on your WordPress website, and to install it and optimize it and all those good things. And just be sure that you're just not putting a whole bunch of unnecessary content. Large files, if you have video. That's another good thing about embedding. If you have video that you want on your site, don't upload it directly to your site. Embed it, put it on YouTube first, and then embed it so that it's not overworking the server. So, just be sure that you guys are being mindful of how quickly your site works.
I'm going to tell you something that probably nobody in this room knew.
What?
That when my first modem was like a 600 baud modem or something like that. Like it was way back in the day. And the way that I cut my teeth on how and learned most of this stuff is that I had a T1 put in my house. And I hosted sites inside of I had my own stuff inside of my house, and I learned routing because if you went to Natalie, if you went to any of my kids, like NatalieBush.com, it was on the computer that was in her room, right? And if you went to whatever you went to, so I learned how to do the routing and how to do the IP addressing, and then all of a sudden it really hit. And it was like you have here was the deal. You had for those that want to go try this hosting on for size. Just remember, when you put your hosting machine on the internet, you have 2 seconds to have it patched. That's how long it takes somebody to find it. 2 seconds. So you best be prepared for it. You know, I've seen servers that were big, that had, you know, up to, I mean, 1 million hacks, 1 million attempts in seconds, because I ran the thing for the state. But anyway, all of those were really, really good tips. I thought they were just excellent. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Chef.
Yes, sir.
What are you going to do Monday?
Monday, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to be hosting how to host a blab.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
No, you're going to be how to use a blab.
How to use a blab.
Because we say this is how you use it, and then you're going to say this is how I use blab in my business.
Showing people how I use blab and how I do my cooking shows, which are coming up in just a little while. Shameless plug. Mm-hmm. So and how they can kind of get their message out and have more fun with it the way I do it, you know, and which is really a great way to do it. I see people trying it and struggling with it, and it's not really rocket science. If I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out. So,
well, I wouldn't disagree with that.
I always tell people on a good day I can spell SEO.
Yeah, but you can't spell email. Does it have a dash or does it not have a dash?
I don't know. I have more spelling errors. I had somebody send me a message one day on a spelling error, and I'm like, really? Is that all you have to do?
No, you know what you say? You say you're a professional typoist, because I am. Professional typoist.
A typoist. Yeah, that's awesome.
The weird thing is, you know, there are no really good spelling tools for food, because some of the things it tells you it should be are not even in the ballpark. So I always thought I should come up with like a spell check for chefs and stuff that have all the real things in it. That would be a nice project for later in my retirement.
A lot of food is named. The names of them are international. You know, they're from other languages. So they're always going to come up in the spell check.
Bizarre.
I just wanted to add something real quick too about the embedding, when somebody was asking about that earlier.
Guys, I gotta go. I got a show starting in a few minutes. Thanks so much. See you later.
Bye.
And I was going to save this for next week, but I'll just let the cat out the bag, because next week I'll be here next Wednesday doing this particular session of embedding, and sometimes it will slow down a site if you have the blab embedded, but it's only slowing down that one page that you have the blab embedded on. Okay. So it's not impacting your whole site. It's not going to get you, penalized by Google or any other that stuff. But Blab doesn't load up that click quickly, even on Blab. So when you're on Blab and you click on a Blab to open it up, it takes about the same amount of time. So the point is, if you want someone to watch your Blab, but yet you want them to watch it on your site, it's just about the same amount of time that they're going to have to go through to watch it on Blab. But the advantage is now they're going to be on your site. They're going to see your sidebar. They're going to know your branding, yada, yada, yada. Okay.
I would like to let this go on for hours, but we do have to deliver on a promise that Stan always says that's what we do as our circadians, is to deliver on a promise. So I just wanted to remind Stan that we're coming up to time past, and whatever you want to do, if you want to stay here for a few hours, that's okay.
Okay, it's 25 minutes. Right now it's at 10:52, which means I have dyslexia, and I've read it backwards. So are you making fun of me? Is that what you're doing?
I don't really have to do it. You're going to do it on your own.
Yeah, I'm going to say hello to Stephen Healy, and I'm going to get out of here just in case anybody else wants to come in here. But he is right. He is our policeman, and I've already had a couple of pings from some other folks telling me that the time is up. But I have what they call selective hearing. If you've never heard of that, it's I hear what I want to hear.
A lot of men.
Peace, love, and understand. Thank you so much for being here, Nikki, and anybody else that wants to pop in real quick, you're free to do it. But Ron's going to tell you, You don't know where you're going, but you can't stay here.
That's true.
Guys, with that,
All right. Bye, everybody.
Nicole,
I got to pack.
Later.
Nikki, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Eileen, thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Join us tomorrow, everybody, and we're going to talk on how to brand a blab tomorrow. One last word, Eileen? Oh, she's gone. Okay, bye. And then Friday, we just chill out, and it's a relaxing day, and we talk about everything or anything. And so at that, I'm going to say goodbye, everyone, and see you tomorrow.